welcome back to another video, guys. Now, before we get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to Josh for making me that new Marvel intro there, because the last one, it was the music, it got copyrighted. And I had so much trouble with the Ant-Man review, and yeah, I'm just hoping that all of the earlier ones don't get taken down now. But anyway, we are back for another MCU review, and it's not one in my continued, because as you guys know, I've been starting from Iron Man and working my way forward. We've just got to Ant-Man, but we have an actual brand new release, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit and talk about the brand new Thor movie, directed by Taika Waititi, Love and Thunder. So yeah, let's just crack on with this one. So in this adventure, we see Thor picking up after the events of Avengers Endgame. He's travelling with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and a new villain called Gore the God Butcherer is travelling the universe killing gods. So Thor must try and defeat him, but along the way in trying to defeat him, he discovers the mighty Thor. Sounds pretty badass to me. So yeah, me and Marvel have been on a slippery slope lately. I've definitely felt the Marvel burnout lately, and I think it's because of the shows. There's just too much for me now. I don't get as hyped as I used to for stuff. And I also felt quite disappointed with Doctor Strange. I did like it, but I was quite disappointed, underwhelmed by it. And Miss Marvel, which is currently airing at the minute, I personally just am not enjoying much, but we'll get to a review of that next week. So, yeah, me and Marvel, I was a little bit sceptical going into this one. I was looking forward to it. I was purely going off the fact that I love Ragnarok, that I might enjoy this one a bit more than the others. And it's not as good as Ragnarok, but I'm happy to report that I had a thoroughly good time with this one. What I love about this one is that it doesn't take you away from the movie to do, here's your Illuminati, here's your cameos. It's a standalone movie. It focuses on itself. While I am looking forward to them bringing in another Thanos-level villain that we can slowly build towards, and I think the MCU is missing that, as a story itself, I love the fact that it is contained, and it doesn't feel the need to build up other stuff. Of course, the end credit scenes give little teasers, but the film itself is very much its own thing. And if you don't like Ragnarok, you're not going to like this one. But if you liked Ragnarok, you're going to like this one. Luckily for me, I'm in the camp that really enjoyed Ragnarok. This one is bright, colourful, silly, wacky, and weird. And I love all of that. It feels like a comic book movie come off the pages, because of it has a lot of the weirdness to it. And I've seen a lot of people complaining about the humour. Now, humour is one of the most subjective things out there, especially in the movie industry, like comedy. Like, I can go from laughing at something like a Minions movie to an Anchorman low-level humour thing to something quite intelligent, like Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead, where I'll burst out laughing. You know, I think I'm pretty good with humour like that. I can skip between the two. This one definitely veers towards the silly humour, but it really suits the character Thor. Thor's been like this way for a while, and I think it works wonders in this movie. I didn't laugh at every joke, but I laughed at most. I genuinely thought this movie was very, very funny. Through characters like the goats. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are going to hate the goats. I thought they were funny. I got chuckles out of me. I don't care if that makes me sound like I've got rubbish sense of humour. I thought it was funny, and that's all I care about. So yeah, I thought it was good. The writing itself I thought was okay. You know, the story itself is kind of generic, but you know, I don't really expect anything incredible from a solo Thor movie. You know, Thor hasn't had the best reputation of solo movies so far in the MCU. I mean, the first two were not very good at all, in my opinion. But, you know, we move. The characters themselves, I thought all the returning cast were really good. Chris Hemsworth, once again, he thrives in this role. He was born to play it. He's great. He's so funny. I know that Thor's gone through many changes. You know, they tried to take him seriously in the beginning of the MCU and it didn't work. And now he's become more of a comedic character. I know that weirdly upsets some people, but he's a lot better now. He's a lot more interesting to watch, so I don't have a problem with it. I thought he was really funny. Korg, once again, great. So happy he's got more screen time. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, also fantastic. And then let's talk about two of the best elements for this movie. Natalie Portman shockingly has returned as Jane Foster, the mighty Thor now. And I thought she was great in this movie. You could tell that as an actress, she was having a lot more fun here because she was just given a lot more to do. And I also love the fact that when they brought her back, They really touched on their relationship that her and Thor had, and they made it a lot more believable. Like, I never really believed their relationship much in the earlier films, but here they do some flashbacks to it, and you see them doing real couples things, and it works so well, and it really built upon that. So I was all for that, and yeah, I thought it was just really well done. It was a really well, you know, how they handled her in general, her character, I thought was great. Again, I'm going to come back to this. I have one issue with her character, and I'm going to come back to it because it's the same issue I have with the next character, and that's Gore the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale, another actor who I could not believe was in this movie, could not believe was joining the MCU, but I guess every actor wants to be in the MCU now. I mean, as soon as they got Michael Douglas, I feel like everyone was like, yeah, MCU, yeah, we'll be a part of that. He stole every scene he was in. Some people were saying he was underused. I'm going to come back to that because I agree to a certain extent, but every scene he was in was great. Christian Bale's acting the shit out of it, no surprise, he's fantastic. He was creepy and menacing. He's honestly one of the coolest looking MCU villains, and just his demeanour, he wasn't just a plank of wood like, I'm bad guy. He's like, he had a bit of personality to him. He had this weird creepy vibe, and I loved it. And I know in the comics, Gore uses a symbiote, whereas here he uses the shadows because I think they want to distance themselves from the symbiote stuff a bit, which I don't blame them. I think it was a really good counter. It worked really well for the character. My issue is you don't really see him kill many gods. You just hear about it. So I would have liked a little bit more screen time with him. And I also just would have liked a little bit more screen time with the mighty Thor as well. I think that's my issue with this movie. It just feels a bit short. I think it could have done with at least another 10 minutes. I wouldn't want it to be too stretched out because I really do think the pacing was great. So I think if you go too far with that runtime, that's when you lose it in the pacing. So, and as I say, I feel like this film had great pacing. So I think probably only an extra 5 to 10 minutes. Just to have some more scenes with Gore, killing some gods, and a bit more time with the mighty Thor. Now, I want to talk about the effects as well because people love to shit on Marvel CGI. And don't get me wrong, there's a couple moments in this movie where the CGI looks rocky. There's a floating head at one point which looked kind of bad. There's also a shot which everyone's been picking apart online already of the mighty Thor in this battle scene at night where she's lit up wrong because they're using that Mandalorian effect and they haven't lit her properly. Didn't look great. However, 90% or 95% of the effects in this movie look fantastic. And I feel so bad for the people who work tirelessly, endlessly to make these films look great. When people go online and just say, Marvel have terrible CGI all the time. It's like, they're under such restricted time here. They're being, you know, these movies are getting turned out way too quick for them probably. And I think they do a brilliant job. And it really actually just annoys me a bit when people slag off the CGI for like 2-3 bad scenes when like the rest of the movie looks fantastic. Because the black and white stuff in this movie was fantastic, especially how they mixed in colour as well in certain elements, which, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but when you see the movie you'll see that. So yeah, I thought that was great. And the music as well, the soundtrack itself wasn't as good as Ragnarok, it wasn't as creative, but you know, there's a lot of Guns N' Roses and a little bit of ABBA, so yeah, there's some good stuff there. Overall, I had a fantastic time with Thor Love and Thunder. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are definitely a few problems with it, you know, the story, you know, it's not the best, it is what it is, it's kind of generic. Could have been a bit longer, but guys, I just think it's so innocently fun, this movie. I think that's why I really enjoyed it. Like Doctor Strange 2, I went into it with quite a serious attitude, and then it just really disappointed, whereas this one, it was just innocent fun. And I had a great time with it, and I know a lot of people are really on this Marvel hate bandwagon. And don't get me wrong, I feel very burnt out of Marvel stuff. I'm not one of these huge Marvel diehards. But, guys, come on. It's like, I'm seeing so much hate for this movie. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. But it's funny because these people are the ones who always say, I hate Marvel, I'm done with it, I'm never watching them again. And they're like the first ones to watch it just so they can go online and shit about it. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Anyway, I'm going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. Thoroughly entertaining. I can't wait to watch it again. I'll be watching it on Disney Plus, picking it up on 4K. It's a good time. Yeah, Thor Love and Thunder. Well done, Taika. Good movie. Anyway, thanks so much for watching as always, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and as always, we'll see you next time for another video. Bye-bye.